Let us now explore key outcomes in Spot Simulator with examples. When users select a country, they will come to a default page that shows the impact of having a universal child, disability, and old age benefit set at the global average. Let's select Kiribati. We can immediately see the combined impact of providing a universal child, disability, and old age benefit in the 5 tiles. Poverty measured according to the national poverty line would be reduced by just over 1/4. Inequality would be reduced by 3%. Consumption would increase by 9% in the poorest households, and 96% of the population would have access to a social protection benefit. This would cost 3.4% of GDP. Let us look more closely at each of these tiles on poverty, inequality, consumption, coverage, and cost. Poverty. By injecting additional cash into households, social protection can boost incomes and reduce poverty, particularly among low-income households. Let's look at the outcome on poverty. The Spot Simulator shows the impact on poverty reduction according to national poverty lines, international poverty lines, and the Poverty Gap Index. With extensive coverage, social protection helps prevent people falling into poverty and reduces existing poverty, thereby impacting positively on recipient households and the population as a whole. This impact can be seen in the Spot Simulator by selecting the recipient and total population options. What would be the simulated impact on poverty of a universal child benefit set at the global average level in the Maldives? The simulation shows it could eliminate poverty among recipient households and reduce poverty by 21% for the whole population. We can also see the impact of different schemes selected on poverty reduction. Let's go to the Philippines. Providing a universal child, disability, and old age benefit at global benefit levels would reduce poverty for the total population by 36% at the national poverty line. We can see that child benefits account for the bulk of the poverty reduction impact nationally, a finding common to many countries with a youthful population. The poverty reduction impact is measured by both the poverty rate, which is the ratio of people whose welfare level is below the poverty line, and the poverty gap, which reflects the intensity of poverty by capturing the extent to which people are below the poverty line on average. If users select GAP for recipients, they will see the selected scheme could reduce the gap by over 40%, using the national poverty line as a benchmark. Let's look at the outcome on inequality. The Spot Simulator estimates the impact of a selected scheme on inequality using the Gini index, which summarizes the dispersion of income across the entire income distribution and provides a snapshot of overall income inequality. And the Palma ratio, the ratio of the income share of the richest 10% to that of the poorest 40%, and the quintile ratio, the ratio of income of the richest 20% to that of the poorest 20%, measuring inequality between the richest and the poorest by different income quantiles. Let's go to Georgia and see how a combined scheme of universal child, disability, and old age benefits set at the global average level affect inequality. The Spot Simulator shows that such a scheme could reduce inequality by 17% in Georgia, based on Gini index. Click on the inequality tile to examine the impact on inequality measured by the Palma and quintile ratio. It shows the selected scheme could reduce the income gap between the richest 20% and the poorest 20% of the population by almost 40%. Consumption. Social protection benefits enhance the purchasing power of recipients and their households, which increases consumption and boosts local economies. Let's look at the outcome on consumption. For every scheme, the Spot Simulator can model the change in household consumption expenditure, as well as for the whole population. The distribution of this impact on total household consumption expenditure per capita can be seen by income deciles. In Indonesia, Simulations indicate the three schemes combined would increase consumption by 52% among the poorest 10%. Child benefits set at the global average would increase consumption among households in the poorest decile by 24%. Set at the global average, old age benefits would boost consumption by 21.1% for the poorest decile. If we take a closer look and select the deciles option, we can see the impact of the combined schemes across income deciles for recipients. The simulator can disaggregate by household type and place of residence. So, we can see child benefits will benefit households with young single parents or caregivers below the age of 60 the most, by increasing their consumption by almost 1/5.